Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. And today we're going to be discussing Asuelu and Kalani and the big showdown. This is 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After, Season 5, Episode 14, To Love and To Obey. And guys, today is a corker. We've got the big showdown with Kalani's family and Asuelu's family, and there are fireworks to say the least. Tammi lets us know in this episode that life is hard in America. Tammi, I'm reliably informed that it's even harder if you're goddamn stupid. So for the first part of this video, we're going to meet with Asuelu and his family, and for once Asuelu is clarifying his position and he's making sure that his mum and sister understand where he's coming from. Luckily for Asuelu, Tammi, the mouth, has yet to arrive. So it's just his older sister Rosa and his mum is going to be talking to. And Asuelu tells us, after talking to the therapist, he wants his mum and sisters to apologise to his wife, because that's what he believes will solve all their problems. Oh Asuelu, this is just one of your many obstacles. What about things such as the division of labour within your household? And other considerations such as, is Kalani your possession? Can you talk to her in any which way you want, calling her out of her name, time and time again, even in front of her parents? And guys, this unfortunately is the simplicity of Asuelu. He picks out one thing and puts all of the problems onto one issue, failing to see there are many issues and things wrong with this union. Proving once again that Asuelu does simplistic like a pro. And when he sits down to talk with his mum, she said, why isn't Kalani here? Is she still mad? Nope, it's because she hates your guts. And Asuelu said, Kalani told me that you told her I should go back to Samoa. Now guys, I would like to just pause here and think about this. When they were in Washington and Kalani and Asuelu had their massive argument and Kalani went to stay at the hotel, remember, and Asuelu went to his mum's house, why didn't you ask her about that then? You did after all spend the whole night with her. It's very interesting that this is the first time that you're fact checking, because that's in fact what you're doing. This should have been brought up as a problem immediately. And Asuelu continues, why did you say that? And his mum said, she didn't want to send money to me. So you said you wanted us to divorce and that you don't love your grandkids. And Asuelu allows his mum to ignore this completely, and she says, I want you to be a strong boy. I want you to stand by yourself. Well, she's going the right way about it. He'll be all alone because he's about to be divorced. Oh mum, don't worry about a strong boy. You've already got one of those. His name's Tammi. And Tammy's the strongest of all. Stronger than Hercules, stronger than the Terminator, stronger than Hulk. It's Tammi! But alas, Asuelu's undeterred. He said, I want you to fully apologise to my wife. What you said is wrong. And his mum said, I now see what happens. You put your wife first in your mind. So what about your mum? That's why I need a divorce, please. And I actually can't believe that she's saying to her son, divorce somebody because they won't do what I want. And Asuelu said to her, if you love me, you love Kalani. And then his mum says to production, maybe if Kalani knows he'll divorce her, she'll become really scared and then she'll become a good wife. Define good wife, Asuelu's mum. Is a good wife just giving you what you want, $1,000 a month? I think it is. I don't think you care how the children are brought up, if the children have what they need, if she looks after your son, or even if she makes your son happy. Just as she does what you say, that to you is a good wife. But Asuelu plugs on nevertheless, and he says we will all meet tomorrow. I don't want any dramas or any fights or any problems or any arguments or any stupid things. Make your angry go down. Don't shake your head. Please don't shake your head. But she shakes it nevertheless, and the Ebird can hear the sound of a few pennies, a little bit of sand, a couple of shells from the beach, and a lifetime of bad-mindedness clinking around in there. And Asuelu tells us he's very worried about meeting the following day. He thinks maybe this whole meeting between the two families was a bad idea. Asuelu, for what it's worth, I think it's an excellent idea because it will let everybody know two things. What craziness you're dealing with from your mum and your sisters, and what hand you were dealt in the genetic lottery. A very low flush at best, at very best. And then we go over to see Kalani, her mum and dad, and they all enter the restaurant and they're about to meet with Asuelu and his family. Kalani tells her parents this is going to be awkward, and her dad said, why? And she said because there's just loads of negative energy. And guys, I've got extremely high hopes for Lo. I think Lo's going to talk some sense into all of them. And we flip back to Asuelu and he's in the car after just picking Tammi up. And Tammy's sitting there with a face like thunder. Lord, Tammi really gets on my nerves. She's like a cross between a smacked arse on Monday morning and Colt's internet search history. She's everything that nobody wants to see. And Asuelu says to everybody, I want you to apologise to Kalani. And Tammi said, I don't have to apologise to Kalani, I'm sticking up for you. And guys, Tammi really believes the crap she speaks. How he's taken your brother from his American dream, from his wife and two beloved children, and sending him back to Samoa so he can give more money to you and to your mum, sticking up for him. And Tammi says life's hard for us. I'm reliably informed it's even harder if you're an idiot, Tammi. And Asuelu said to Tammi, the reason I want you to apologise is that you said to Kalani we should get a divorce. And Tammi said, well, I'm just saying what I feel. That's all it is. What a great game, Tammi. The Ebird wants to join in. I want to say what I think about you. I feel that your clothes invalidate the need for Halloween costumes. I think that your ass is jealous of the amount of crap that comes out of your mouth. I'd like to call you an idiot, but I think that would be an insult to all stupid people. I think you're greedy, insatiably greedy. I think every time you see $1 in Asuelu's fingers, you take it as a personal insult. That's what the Ebird thinks about you, Tammi. I quite like this game. And Tammi finishes off by talking to the producers. And she says Asuelu always listens to what Kalani says. When we ask for money, she says no. She controls him. She knew he was Samoan when she married him, so she knew what she was getting into. And Asuelu said, I hate being in the middle. If you love me, you'll all try and get along. And everybody just sat in the back of the car, silently. And back at the restaurant, Kalani mused, I wonder how they'll be with my dad here. At this point, Kalani, I kind of feel like Asuelu and your dad equals Tammi in testosterone. And then finally, Lo said what I've been waiting for him to say for absolutely ages, and this is that you help out your Samoan family, but you don't do it at the cost of your nuclear family. You don't cast your family aside to do so. And guys, what I've been struggling with through this whole storyline is how reasonable are they being in terms of what usually happens in Samoan culture. If in Samoan culture you give all your money to your parents and your parents virtually leave you with a little bit of pocket money to live on, and that's what everybody does, I can understand it a little bit more. I just want to know what is usual for Polynesians. Anyway, the three amigos walk in and they come in and kiss and hug everybody. Granny kisses the kids she couldn't give two craps about last week, and they make very awkward small talk. And to producers, Lo, Kalani's dad, says, I understand how Asuelu is stuck in the middle. His family are a little bit crazy about how they want things done, but Asuelu must stick up for his family, otherwise I won't support him within our family. And when they sit down, Asuelu takes control. I want us all to sit and talk calmly about what's happened. And so Kalani says, I'd like a few answers about what happened last week. You were very disrespectful. And Asuelu's mum said, you told us what was in your mind. You hated what I needed from my son, and you're not obeying what I want. And then Tammi piped up, I support my mum. And his mum continued, Tammi supports what I need. Asuelu is so weak. And Tammi tries to explain, that's the life in Samoa. We have to send money to Samoa no matter what. Crying, dying, whatever. Let me give you a few more. Prying, vying, lying, falsifying, terrifying. No matter what, Tammi. No matter what. And she said to Lo, she should understand because you are Samoan. And then Lo disappointed the Ebird massively. He did a 1-2 flipperoo. And he said, I think the two cultures don't mix very well, and I don't think that these two kids knew what they were getting into when they got together. And that's helpful how exactly? They're already married with 2 kids. That is not what I need you to say, Lo. What I need you to say is, they're now in America, so why should Samoa take precedence? I need you to say, why do you think that I should subsidise Asuelu so that Asuelu can gift you a ridiculous amount of money month in, month out? But he doesn't say any of this. And Tammi said, Asuelu's controlled by Kalani. She tells him not to send money to my parents. And Lisa, Kalani's mum, isn't having any of this. And she said, it sounds like when they don't send enough money, it's all Kalani's fault. That's not okay. And Tammi said, yeah, I do think that. I do think it's Kalani's fault. We know that whenever Asuelu says no, it's Kalani. And she further explained, we told you we wanted $1,000 when you came to Washington, and you only gave 100. Oh my lord, Asuelu's a monster. And Lo said, you can't send all your money to Samoa and leave your family to starve. And Asuelu said, if we have it, I don't mind giving it to you, but if we don't have it, I can't give it. At this point, his mum looked him dead in the eye and she said, Asuelu, what happened to you? You're in America now. You better give me more money. And Lisa said, so they're just supposed to fight and argue just so that you two are happy. And Tammi said, Lisa, why are you talking to my mum? And Lisa said, Tammi, why are you butting in? And Tammi said, this is my mum. I'm defending her. You can't talk to my mum. And she starts rattling on about money. Everybody stopped listening, so why are you still talking, Tammi? And then Asuelu's mum said, I want him to send more money to me. And Kalani's mum said, they don't have it. They cannot give what they don't have. And I really think the point that's missing here is, I'm not sure if they believe that Kalani and Asuelu have the money or not. I think that they do have the money, they just don't want to give. And Tammi's still chuntering on. She said, you can't speak to my mum like that. And Lisa said, I'm telling her in a sweet, loving and respectful way, so please. And Lo said, guys, let's not try to get riled up over this. Lo, they have to get riled up over this because Asuelu's mum's saying, you're not my son and I don't want to know you anymore if you don't give me this prescribed amount of $1,000 a month. The main person that stands to lose from this whole thing is Asuelu. He needs more backup. And Lisa said to producers, I think that Asuelu's family are pushing the Polynesian culture a little bit too much. Don't say it to producers then, Lisa. Say it to them. Say this isn't what usually happens. This is abnormal. If it is, Lo, we want to hear more from you. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. And at this point I'm beginning to think Lo is the biggest life-size flip-flop I've ever come across. Asuelu said, you're making me and my wife fight, but if you don't accept what I say, I will cross Samoa in my bank account. And at this point Asuelu's mum theatrically rubs her eyes. And to producers, Asuelu says he's torn because he respects his parents, but he has to take care of his family first. And he needs to fix his marriage. And his mum says, I hate what you're saying. I'm your mum and I love you so much I don't want to lose you from my hands. But if I ask for money and it's too much, then it's okay. And then she said, I want to apologise to you, Kalani. And I can see this is all just gameplay. She's looking at Asuelu like he's an undesirable vagrant. And I'm quite surprised she's apologised. If I had £1 for every time she said sorry, I'd have £1. Guess what, Kalani? She's not sorry. But for her part, Kalani apologises as well, although she doesn't specify what for. I'll give you a few ideas. I'm sorry that I ever had the misfortune of meeting you. I'm sorry that you raised Asuelu to be your slave. I'm sorry that you think you can put so much pressure on us, we'll cave in and give you money we don't have. I'm sorry you think I'm a fool and I'm not. But then Tammi pipes up, I have nothing to apologise for. And to producers she says, Asuelu forgot where he came from. I'm both sad and angry and I'd like him to get a divorce. And guys, sometimes some people look thick and then they speak and absolutely confirm it. If Asuelu gets a divorce, he'll have to go back to Samoa. If he goes back to Samoa, he'll earn an awful lot less than he does now. And let's not forget, whether in Samoa or America, he still has 2 children to provide for. He'll also need to have yearly flights over to America to see his kids. So you're imagining things are going to go back to how they were before he has kids. Guess what, Tammi? You cannot turn back the clock. Tammi really isn't the brightest spark. And Lisa said, are you happy with the outcome of what's happened today, Asuelu? Why would you be, Lisa? Pretty much nothing has been established. And Asuelu said, well, I guess I'm a quarter happy. The Ebird isn't. The Ebird's very unhappy. And that's where we leave things for this week. And so what do I make from all of this? Really can't exaggerate the bewilderment I'm in. Lo, you've got plenty to say to producers, to your family, to Kalani, to Asuelu. But when it comes to saying it to Tammi, you seem to go all meek. I know Tammy's a formidable character. Is it the case you're scared of her? It seems so to me. I think that his mum knows that something's better than nothing, but she's still not happy, and you know good and well, every time she's on the phone to Asuelu, she'll always be pressing him for more money. Tammi will give him the cold shoulder, and they will try and put the pressure on in every way they can. That's clear. They have both reiterated the fact that they want him to divorce Kalani, proving that they don't love him and they don't care about the welfare of those 2 boys. They're more interested in their own pockets. Unfortunately now, Asuelu has heard this for himself, and I do feel very sorry for him. But the thing that I'm mainly upset about is the fact that no one is discussing the fact that this is now a blend of the 2 cultures, Samoan and American. Why are you allowing Tammi to say, you know the Samoan way? You live in America, his mum lives in America, Asuelu lives in America, so why are we operating under Samoan rules? At the very least you should be blending the 2 cultures. Tammi is so rude. She says, I respect my parents. You don't seem to respect Kalani's mum, who's also a parent. It's Asuelu's mother-in-law. Lisa is exactly the same as your mum. And literally this sent my irony detector off the freaking scales. And guys, if there's any justice in the world, karma will bring Tammi back as a toilet bowl. Kalani's parents failed to say, why do you think you're entitled to our money? You're asking for more money per month than is earned. So who do you think really is going to pay? And they really did fail to get across that there isn't enough money for what they're asking for. But the final point I want to make is that Tammi and Asuelu's mum are both mourning the loss of control. They both think that Asuelu should do whatever his mum says no matter what, and no matter the hardship this will cause him. They think if they can just get Kalani out of the picture, Asuelu will return to how he was before, just giving them money whenever they asked. But they forget that Asuelu will always have to pay for his kids. They exist now, they're not going to disappear. Although having said that, I wouldn't allow Granny to babysit. The grandkids, they're gone. and I could understand this a lot more if they paid for him to, for instance, go to university and get to America that way. And so now they want payback. And I could also understand if they were in the absolute grip of poverty, but they're not. We see that Tammi has her nails done. You're not struggling. She also said, I send my kids to dance lessons. I send my kids to after school activities. So you're not going hungry. You're not standing at a food bank. The truth be told, if Asuelu's mum didn't have another hot meal until Christmas, should be okay. Asuelu's mum, if you can't afford to be in America, perhaps you should go back to Samoa where things are cheaper. And the way that they've acted and reiterated what they said to Kalani this week proves to me this is how they really feel. All of the rubbish we've been hearing on social media from the family back in Samoa was just damage control. I don't believe for a second that producers have set this all up, because there's no way that they'd sit in front of Asuelu and admit that they said they didn't care about the grandkids, or admit that they said, yep, he should get a divorce several times. And guys, if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it here so that you can go back and have a look at what I said about that whole situation. I don't believe all of this is fake. I do believe that Asuelu's mum is not super intelligent and she wants to try and get blood out of a stone. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think they're mourning a loss of control over Asuelu? And do you think they really still blame Kalani for not wanting to give money? And what do you think they can all do now to try and resolve it? I thought this week they'd all talk about finances properly, and they'd all talk about what's acceptable in Polynesian culture properly, but none of that was aired out. And let's not forget, Tammi keeps saying, give us money, give us money. Who's us? You're his sister, you're not even a parent. It's my belief that if Asuelu gave your mum £1,000, 500 of it would go to you, Tammi, and that's why you're so vocal and so upset about him no longer giving as much money as he used to give. So let me know in comments down below what you think, and I'll be back very soon with another video. Please guys, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to press the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this. Make Ebird a very happy Ebird, and tomorrow's video will be on Tania and Syngin. Thank you guys so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.